Station, this is Houston. Are you ready for the event?
Houston, this is Station. We are ready for the event.
KSTP-TV, this is Mission Control Houston. Please call Station for a voice check.
Station, this is Ashley Hallback with KSTP. Do you hear me?
Hi, Ashley. Yes, I can hear you loud and clear.
All right. Hi. Well, to start with the easy one, I just want to talk about the mission you're currently on.
Well, the mission we're currently on is Expedition 53. It started about a week ago and will continue through mid-December. The primary purpose of this mission is to serve as a national science lab. Of course, it's an international program, so we've got many countries involved. But it's all about science. We're learning about not just science for the sake of space flight, but also science that actually helps people on the ground today.
And how will that help people on the ground today? What kind of things are you looking to gain from this?
Well, I can give you an example. We just had a spacecraft leave this past weekend. It was a SpaceX's Dragon capsule. And one of the things we had done on we delivered back to the Earth on that capsule was some lung tissue that we had grown on the space station. The hope is that those cells will help fight cancer in the future.
Wow, that's really exciting. So you've gone on to a few other missions. How does this one compare to others you've been on?
The other missions I've been on have all been on the ground. So this is my first space flight, and I'll just tell you really quickly, it's really an amazing experience. As the only new guy on the crew I'm in, sometimes I feel like a bumbling idiot sometimes, but that's quickly improving as I'm learning how to move around in zero-G.
That's very exciting. You are from Minnesota. Talk a little bit about how you've gone to high school here, you went to college here, how that helped shape you to eventually do what you're doing right now, be up in space.
Well, I think certainly the schools I went to helped me learn a lot, not just knowledge-wise, but also a set of values I learned from my family and relatives and friends, the institutions I was part of. Jokingly, of course, Minnesota has some harsh winters, so certainly that helped me get comfortable with more extreme environments, not quite as extreme as the one I'm in right now, but thankfully we've got a lot of people making sure we're safe up here.
Very nice. Yeah, we definitely do. Still holding on to summer here right now. Do you have any message to Minnesotans, younger Minnesotans here that hope to eventually one day also, be a part of NASA and go up into space?
I'd say figure out what you love to do and then find a way to do it. For people that are really wanting to become an astronaut, it's a hard thing to achieve. Very many people want to do it and very few get the opportunity. But regardless, you can be a success if you do something you enjoy doing, so the path is something that's successful, not just the final destination. And also, I think NASA tends to hire people that are being very successful, and if you're doing something that you love, your chances of being successful at it are much higher.
Yeah, that's great advice. I'm just trying to think. We talked about winters here. Any other stories about Minnesota and being up in space that telling other people, or just other connections?
I'm hoping to take some pictures of places on the Earth, including Minnesota, and send back to the ground. So that'll be kind of fun. Of course, I've got to do so. That takes some planning because we travel over pieces of the planet very quickly. So I'm hoping to make that happen.
Sure. Yeah, that would be very cool. And then you want to talk a little bit about how long you're up there, and what other kind of work you do for NASA?
Sure. I'll be up here for about 6 months. So my crew of 3 that launch together, on a Soyuz spacecraft. We are going to continue through Expedition 53 into Expedition 54, and the three of us will return to Earth around middle of February. We've got some spacewalks coming up on the space station, 3 of them, in fact. Lots of visiting vehicles. It's an exciting time to be on the space station.
Once you do come back down, what other kind of work will you be doing with NASA when you're back on the ground?
My hope is that I get to help other people prepare to do exactly what we're doing right now. Every time, spaceflight experience is a rare commodity, and being able to pass on what you've learned to other people is really important. Of course, there's a lot of benefit to providing the perspective for future spacecraft to people that may not be aware of the type of issues that can come up. So we, astronauts on the ground, participate in a lot of technical jobs and provide support to meetings, continue to train for other flights. There's always that hope. So I'm not 100% certain, but I'm pretty positive that it will be interesting.
Definitely sounds like it, for sure. Any other last thoughts or any other messages to family back here, to your parents or anyone else in Minnesota?
Yes, definitely. To my family and friends, anybody who's following along with this adventure, thanks very much for the support. It really means a lot. Space flight is always interesting. It's not always easy, and the love and support of the people that you care about is extremely important. Thank you.
Thank you.
Station, this is Houston ACR. That concludes the KSTP portion of the event. Please stand by for a voice check from the Associated Press.
Should I say hello?
Station, this is Marcia Dunn with the Associated Press. How do you hear me?
Marcia, we hear you loud and clear. How about us?
Perfect. Good morning from the Kennedy Space Center. For the two new guys, well, the two newly arrived guys, how's your adjustment to space station life going so far?
Hey, Marcia. This is Joe, and it's going great. It's been about 5 years since my last visit, so some things have changed, but it's been about a week, and I'm getting into the groove of things, and it's starting to feel like home again.
Mark, what about you?
So for me, it's starting to feel like home. It was quite a shock. Everything I wanted to do when I first got up here seemed a lot harder than I expected, because these guys were very good-natured about things. They'd see me floating by where they knew I wanted to stop, and they just kind of chuckle to themselves. But they'd all been through it before, too.
Well, Joe, if I could ask you a couple questions to start with. Hurricane Maria made landfall in Puerto Rico just about an hour ago, and do you still have family there? And if so, have you been in touch with them?
Well, thanks for the update. I'd heard about Maria, but haven't seen the track. And, yeah, I do still have a lot of family there. My parents were born there, so a lot of relatives, cousins, godparents. But, no, if it's happened in the last hour, I have not had a chance to talk to anybody. So I hope everyone's doing well and that you take care of yourselves.
Well, have you seen the hurricane from space yet? I'm just wondering if you've gotten a peek at Maria.
I have not seen Maria yet, and, it's kind of hard to believe, but, you get so busy in the day working so hard that at times you forget to look out the window. So I'll be looking at our application that lets us know where we're going, and hopefully we can take a look and see if we can get some pictures for folks.
For this mission, did you take up any memorabilia for Puerto Rico or anything, for people there?
Well, no Puerto Rican can travel without their Puerto Rican flag, so I have my share of those, and Pretty soon the space station is going to start looking like Puerto Rico with all the flags. So sorry, gentlemen.
Well, thank you. And for all of you, I'm wondering how your homes in Houston fared from Hurricane Harvey. And also along those lines, has it been difficult being off the Earth or even getting ready for a mission, for that matter, at this time of such intense weather?
Well, I hate to hog the mic, but I'll start this one since personally I had some problems with my house. It did flood. And so luckily there was an army of folks in the Houston area, a lot coming from the Johnson Space Center, that helped clean out my house, started yanking out walls and going through the drying process. So at the time of the hurricane, we were in Russia getting ready for our final exams, and it was a huge relief to know that there were people at home taking care of me. So, when you can help people out, it really means a lot, and so I personally know that.
What about Paolo? Mark, what about your homes? Okay.
So my home was fine, actually. We were very fortunate. There was some long, boring days for my wife as she waited out the storm at the house, but otherwise that was it.
Well, for maybe... please go ahead.
Yeah, continue for Mark. Let's finish.
Is it difficult being off the Earth at this time? I mean, as these hurricanes just seem to be sweeping across the Atlantic with such frequency and intensity, it just seems so bizarre for all of us back here.
Yeah, I think it's certainly hard when people you care about are not in a situation where you can help them out and they need help. So that can be tough. But we're very fortunate because there really are a lot of people in the community where our families live that are willing to go out of their way to look after our families, recognizing that we can't do it ourselves. So that's been hugely appreciated.
Joe, another question for you, if I might. I'm wondering if you have any education events planned for your mission. And I know Ricky Arnold's going to be following you next year. How do you hope to make a difference with your world classroom up there?
Yeah, so we are fortunate that we're going to have a year of educators in space. And so NASA is taking advantage of this opportunity. We're doing lots of partnerships with folks, trying to take advantage of having us up here, being able to connect with teachers and students. I know we have various downlinks that are planned. I know I have one planned with students in Puerto Rico. And then we also have demonstrations that, we hope to perform, all of the crew that teachers can use to enhance what they do in the classroom. So as much as we can do to help the great teachers out there, we're going to try to do that.
Yeah, and Mark, for you, last week Jack Fisher said upon his return to Earth that being in space grows your faith. Those are his words. And I'm wondering, have you found this to be true for you? And what preparations did you make before the flight to keep your lights shining up there, as Jack put it?
Oh, I'm assuming that Jack said it grows your face because you got such a big smile on it. Jack has a way with words. He's like a space poet. Yeah, I think it definitely is exciting. We were packing up that SpaceX spacecraft, and I remember thinking, I noticed that the cargo nets that we put inside the center stack looked a lot like a military cargo net. And I thought to myself, this is like getting some cargo ready for a parachute drop, except we're a lot higher up, and I thought that was pretty neat.
For Paolo, I've been enjoying your photos of Italy from space, and if you could beam yourself down somewhere in Italy for a good meal, where would that be, and what would you eat?
Marcia, that's tough questions because every region in Italy has its own speciality and its own flavors. And right now, I would be really hard pressed to pick any place. I mean, send me down anywhere. That would be really nice. It would be nice to be able to go down for a meal and come back again. That would be nice.
Yeah, take me with you.
Yeah, and I'll take these guys with me too.
Well, wonderful. But what one dish are you hungry for if you could pick one?
Well, actually, I'm always joking about the pizza, and not because the pizza is but it's a simple dish, and pizza usually means going out with friends, relax, and have a good time outside. Especially in Italy, you usually go on a pizza outside and you look at the sky, you look at the people passing around. So it's a kind of a social event, and this is what I'm missing a little bit. Station is really, really, really nice, but we tend to focus a lot on work, and a little bit of getting your mind out would not be bad.
Let me also ask you, is the espresso machine up there still working? And if so, have you managed to have a cup or two of espresso?
That's a good question. Well, everybody here is looking forward to this, to try this machine again. I found it somewhere stored all the way in the back. I brought with me some of these capsules that are needed for it. We did not have yet the time to set it up and try it again. We will do it in the future. We are really looking forward to do it. So far, we have the regular long coffee, but I guess a really good espresso would make a difference.
Well, the 60th anniversary of Sputnik is coming up, and what are the plans to celebrate it from orbit?
I can tell you one thing that was kind of neat was in our Soyuz capsule that Joe and I were in to launch to get here. We used a miniature of the Sputnik, the very first satellite that was launched, in our spacecraft as the zero gravity indicator. There's a tradition for all those spacecraft that there's something hanging from the hatch between the habitation compartment and the descent compartment. And sometimes it's a stuffed animal, but we used a small satellite for ours in memory of that.
Yeah, and I would hope that educators around the world will take this opportunity to reflect on, what happened 60 years ago, how it motivated so many nations, and where we are today, and then to imagine where we might be, 60 years from now. So I think it's a great educational opportunity, and if we can help out up here, we'll try to help that cause.
Joe, I was reading some of the quotes from years ago that you made upon being selected, and one was that when you got picked as an astronaut, when you were going into training, you figured you needed to get your long hair cut, and the kids were making some jokes. Tell me, now that you're going to be off the planet for 6 months, are you going to do your best to grow your hair back the way it used to be?
Well, at 50 years of age, I'm not sure I can grow it like it was 15 or 16 years ago. But, I'm going to give it a shot. As I get older, I probably don't have much more time with this hair of mine, so I think I'm going to let it grow until these guys wrestle me down and make me shave it.
Anything else you're going to do to try to get kids' attention up there to try to hook them to the space program?
Well, I just hope that we can share efficiently and appropriately the work that we're doing, because I think sometimes people look at what we're doing and they can't relate to it. So social media, I think, is going to be helpful for us. We're going to try to maybe make some short clips just showing people what we're doing, and just trying to, to show kids that, for all of us, it's a dream come true. And we want them to believe the same, and we want them to pursue whatever field it is that they enjoy. So hopefully the enthusiasm that we have for being up here, we can share with students around the world.
Well, thank you, gentlemen. Buona fortuna, Godspeed, and safe travels.
Station, this is Houston ACR. That concludes the event.
Thank you, KSTP-TV and Associated Press station. We are now resuming operational audio communications.